My name is Maria Niño Soto, and I am an international languages teacher. I teach Spanish. I'm also a science teacher. I'm involved in general science and biology teaching, and that means that I have the great opportunity of thinking about inquiry from two different points of view, languages and science. I love getting the kids in all my classes involved in collaboration and group work. Particularly in Spanish, for the senior classes, is great because it gives them an opportunity to grow as students, but also to develop those skills that help with group work and teamwork in the future. When they have solid proficiency, it's very easy to engage them in creative activities, and I find that technology is a pivotal resource to be successful when implementing these activities and having them actually grow as learners and prepare good quality work. So one thing that I really like to do is in Spanish, specifically for senior classes, and in this case grade 12 students, we read a play in class. It's a Mexican theater play. It's in 3 acts, so we read the first 2 acts in class, and on their own there's a little bit of both, and then they have to create the 3rd act. We eventually get to the 3rd act of the real play, but they have to create their own version of what they think is going to happen in the play. So once we have started reading the first 2 acts, we divide the class in groups. The size of the groups is going to depend on the size of the class, but generally they're larger groups. They tend to be like 10 to 12 students because it's how many characters there are in the play. And then they have to work together to create a plot and then to actually create the lines for each of their characters, which is, it can be very challenging. But the good thing is that technology tools like Google Docs, which is what we use for this project, allow them to work together and see what they're doing and help each other and create a coherent piece of work, which is what we're looking for. So in this sense, we are preparing them for later on in life, because basically what they're going to be facing when they go out there in the market labor is they're going to have, in most cases, to work as part of teams. And this prepares them a little bit as well to face those challenges of personalities and also how to listen to other people's ideas, receive feedback, give feedback, and work together to create one product from their project. So as we move forward in the project, we actually present to the class as a peer review exercise. Using their Google Doc that they have created, they present to the class on a smartboard, and then they present their ideas, and the people can give them feedback, and they can edit at the same time because it's right on the screen, so they can actually make changes on the spot, which is really useful. The Google Docs allow them the flexibility that if somebody's not in class but they're somewhere else in a different location, they can still work together because it's not depending on the geographical location of the person. So I think that's very useful. So sometimes they're at home, or they decide that they're going to work over the weekend, or they decide that so-and-so is not at school, they're somewhere else, and that person still has the ability to log in and participate in the collaboration, which is great. They can also, because that's what kids do, as they're working, they have 5 different things going on at the same time, but they still are engaged in the work because they're receiving information from others and putting information in, and it's a very dynamic process. In this way, they can also hold everyone accountable, because everyone is seeing what the work is the work that is being produced and who's doing what. So in that sense, it's a very good experience for them. So for this particular project, we do not, like in Ontario, we do not give group marks. So even though this is a group work, we are not going to assign a group mark for this. So each student is going to receive an individual mark. However, their individual mark is determined by the quality of the work they have produced. So if they are not able to collaborate well and work well together as a team, their final product is not going to be of as good quality as if they have done so. And because they all need to make it work, then they're invested on making the process work as well, which is great, because they don't realize this, but many times, but they are actually enriching each other's learning by correcting things. Here somebody knows more about that, so they bring in that idea, or somebody knows more about a certain grammatical point, so he can correct everybody. In the end, everyone is responsible for their own little bit. That's what I'm going to be giving them a mark on, but they have built it together. So collaborating becomes a more essential part of the assignment as just simply a team project that everyone gets a little bit and nobody cares what the other one is doing. So that's why I think collaboration is essential for this lesson. And it's really good that they get an opportunity to present their work to the peers, and then in the end they actually perform their third act in class. So both the group has an opportunity to see, like to present and practice their oral skills and showcase their talents, and the audience has a chance to see if they actually understand what the other ones are saying, and then actually figured out if the work was coherent and well done and logical and all that. So it's actually a great engaging activity. It's a lot of fun. The things that they actually come up with the day of the performance are very incredible and everyone actually enjoys it very much. So I think this lesson went reasonably well, but there's a few things that I learned from it. What was particularly effective, for example, was the use of the Google Doc to compile everybody's work. That worked amazingly well. Have only one document that was the one document that they were going to submit in the end with everybody's work on it was great. Everyone had a chance to contribute, edit, and you know, have a say on what was being produced at any time until the time of submission. So that was very, very helpful. One thing that did not work so well was that the groups were very large. So maintaining collaboration in a group of 10 to 12 students is challenging at best. And I have to say that even with a highly committed class that they really, really want to do well, it's very difficult. So one thing that I would change for the future would make groups smaller, because that is going to make collaboration a lot easier. I would actually take this experience to the science side of things and try to think about what am I doing now and how could I implement something similar, because I can see the enhanced value that the cooperation piece with flexibility, which is something that this brought in as well, has for the students. So knowing that they're not just tied to a certain period of time, or knowing that they can go in any time and change things, and knowing that they always have the opportunity to ask somebody for help and give advice, I think that was great, and I definitely plan on taking that for my science class as well. I haven't done this in science yet. When I'm designing something that involves collaboration within inquiry, it's a little bit challenging sometimes, because there's always that component of responsibility that you have to make sure that everyone contributes the same, which is, I think, the piece that doing it publicly and in an open platform brings in. I think that is great for learning, because what I saw was people helping each other, like correct mistakes or think of a better way of saying something, or even offering new ideas that the other person may not have thought about for ways on how to say things. And I think that when you create this knowledge together, when it's not just somebody telling them something or just reading it from a book, but it's coming from them, and they can see that it's actually important that people understand what they're saying and how they're saying it, I think that was a big eye opener. Like, I have done collaboration before, but it hasn't been at this level, and it worked really, really well. And I think that it also takes away a little bit of the anxiety of speaking up in class and saying something out loud, because you're doing it on the computer, so you can even make a comment and then the comment is there, somebody can take it or not, and it's also there for everyone to see. So you have like to monitor the way you say things, But you also understand that the value of your ideas is great when you start seeing that people actually take them and they help them do better. So that's something that I think is really important. And they discover things that they didn't know before. So they discover ways of using the language that they never thought of. And maybe because they saw somebody else doing it in their own group, or because somebody suggested it to them, or because by thinking about what they needed to do or somebody else needed to do, then they came up with new ideas that perhaps if they hadn't been collaborating, they wouldn't have even thought of. So I felt that was really, really important. The use of technology. Technology is it's like I always like to think about it as a double-edged sword. So it could be really great, it could be really bad. And I think that actually for these particular activities, as technology has become more flexible, more user-friendly, and more open, I think it actually has gained in its potential to support collaboration, because now it's a lot easier to work together on something as simple as a Google Doc that maybe 2 years ago we wouldn't even, or 3 years ago we wouldn't even consider such an everyday tool. It's like it's a given. We don't even think anymore. Like somebody has to do a work project, everyone just goes and opens a Google Doc, invite all their friends, and there they go. So it has become something that you don't even think about. It just happens. It's like that's the way it's supposed to be. You don't even think about it. So it is great because, for example, before, that flexibility of having access to your work at all times and being able to collaborate with people at any given point in time was not there. So you were not able to actually then if you had a great idea, say on Saturday afternoon, then you had to wait until Monday for school to start, and then you can come to class and tell your friends. Now you can automatically just jump in there and put it in for consideration of others, and I think that's really, really great. And I think that that's basically one of the largest benefits that I see from technology. You could also do this through Skype. You could do this through many other tools that are available today, that they were just like a random idea, let's say 5 years ago when I started teaching. So yeah, that's pretty much it.